Hi, this is Daniela Wolf with Bestie Life, the podcast, and this is your community to support you through the little and not so little events that make up your day-to-day life. From the I've got this moments to the I just can't moments. We are here to empower all women to find and develop the skills they need to find peace, balance, and the bliss in their busy. Through solo episodes as well as interviews with amazing women who share their journey and their story and how it works for you. I hope you find the inspirations to make you laugh, think, as well as maybe rethink what you thought you knew, and connect as we realize that we are all living similar ups and downs and don't have to do it alone. So excited for you to hear this episode, and thanks so much for joining me today. Hi, this is Daniela Wolf with Bestie Life, the podcast, and today I'm with Lisa Zawrotny. She is the founder of Positively Productive Systems. She hosts the Positively Living podcast. She is a productivity and accountability coach and helps, and this is why I think we're going to have such a great conversation. She helps with time and stress management, which you guys know I love to talk about, and uses simplicity, self-awareness, and systems to really help you be more productive, find that balance, and avoid burnout. So thank you so much for joining me today, Lisa.
Oh, thank you, Daniela. I am so delighted to be talking with you today.
So if you wouldn't mind just kind of expanding and sharing a little bit more about what it means to be positively productive, what you do, and how you help.
So there's so many places that we overlap, I think, especially in our intention of what we do. And one of the things you like to talk about is options. And that's what being positively productive means to me as well, is coming at it from that can-do attitude. And not just that, but honoring who you are as a person and, your values, your personality, your tendencies, embracing and loving all of that and leaning into that, leaning into your strengths to find the ways to be not only more efficient, but to be able to actually do less while achieving what you want to achieve and making the space for what matters in your life.
I love that, because I think it is so individual based on your strengths, and it's not one size fits all. And I think that's where people get frustrated. They try and take somebody else's strength and make it theirs. And that just doesn't always work.
Yeah. And the thing is that this is what happens with different kinds of frameworks, that people create. Oh, you need to try this system, this platform, this thing that I've done, and it really works for me. And you get excited and you try it. And sometimes it'll work great. And you'll be like, yes, and you're good to go. And what you didn't realize is that it's because that was suited to you and all of those things that I just talked about. But when it doesn't work and you're like, oh, what's wrong with me? And that's where I'm like, come here, nothing is wrong with you. We need to find the right thing for you. And productivity is doing the right thing at the right time, the right way for you.
And that's the thing. It's these external actions. And I like the way you said, people assume what's wrong with me and we internalize it when that's not the case at all.
And that actually breaks my heart. And it's something that I'm out to change, is to say, let's get curious instead, right? Because curiosity doesn't leave the room for judgment and saying, oh, there must be something wrong with me. Instead, saying, what didn't work here, right? It's not a failure. It's I figured out what didn't work. Let's figure out why. What did I do it because my best friend said, oh, this will totally be great, but my best friend and I work completely differently?
Right.
Or was it because I wasn't in the right headspace for it, or I was distracted by something else, or I have different, work on myself that I need to do first before I'll be ready? There's so many things to explore. And that are so much more truly productive than going to that space where we think, that I did something wrong. So let's change that.
Right. So in addition to that, are there other myths when it comes to productivity that you find a lot of people kind of come in with?
Well, the myth of needing to do more, right, in the first place is something I'm just, let me on my soapbox and I will bust that forever. And here's why: because there's that confusion really between the busy and productive. And the busy is the activity. And I think that we tend to identify, especially as moms and business owners, with this idea that when we're doing the things, that's where we we show our value. That's where we have our value.
Mm-hmm.
And when we don't do things that we somehow, I don't know, misconstrue that as lacking value, as being lazy, as, not being effective enough for whatever it is we're trying to achieve. We don't put enough value in rest and in space. And
Right.
so, that distinction between busy and productive, we want to be go all the time. And we feel, we feel good about that somehow. But the problem is you see it all the time, as I do.
Mm-hmm.
It leads to burnout. Productive, like I said, it's not about constantly doing. It's actually about doing very intentionally and almost cautiously, such that you're making sure that you get the right return on investment.
Right. It's almost somehow as a culture, we need to somehow let go of that tangibility so that it's not always what you see, where the benefit and where the value is.
Well, that ties into what we're going to be talking about on my podcast as well. And it's this idea of creating these habits. And in your case with self-care, very specifically, where, you're not going to see necessarily the results. Obviously, it may be subtle, or it may be like a small step that's going to take a bit to kick in, and then for you to see the results. And I think that can be a challenge for us. And the same goes for habits when it comes to being more productive, and also especially so when you are feeling overwhelmed, when you are heading toward burnout, and now you're trying to change it around. When clients come to me and they're like, okay, hot mess, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a little bit, right? Like any cleanup job.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little bit, but it's okay. Have faith in the process.
For someone who's listening and thinking, okay, Lisa, that all sounds great, what would be like one simple place for them to start or think about?
Okay. So depending upon where the challenge is, but I'm going to go with what I coach the most, what I see the most in mom entrepreneurs. And that's that overwhelm, that mental load that we have. And the first place is getting it out of your brain. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it carries us through. That is mental clutter that we carry with us, that weighs our shoulders down, that makes us exhausted, and that takes us away from being present in our lives and truly living and being in the moment. It takes us away from being effective when we do have those moments of self-care and when we are trying to achieve or focus on something. So first step, decluttering your brain. I have a worksheet in my free resources library called the Focus File. I just called it that because I'm obsessed with alliteration. But essentially, it's like along the lines of David Allen's Getting Things Done, where you take the stuff out of your brain, you take the stuff that's getting all your attention, and you put it in a safe space.
I love that. And the link will definitely be in the show notes for that, because I think nobody thinks of clutter in that way. I like that, because you look around and you see clutter, but you don't think of the fact that you're keeping track of your kids' soccer schedule and people's birthdays and what's for dinner as part of that clutter. And so being able to let go of that, I don't even think people realize how much lighter you'll feel not having so much going on in your head.
Right. Because it's not only that you're keeping track of it. So that's a lot of brain power, but then you're worried about forgetting it. Right. Come on. I mean, I'll raise both my hands for this, where I'm like, wait, did I get, that appointment scheduled, or wait, does he have his guitar today? Or, you're thinking about all these things, and it takes you away from everything. It takes you away from being able to focus properly. It takes you away from having moments of peace, which we so need. Yeah.
And I think you hear women and people say so many times, like, my brain just can't shut down. And this is probably so helpful in just getting that shut down, because you're not worried about losing anything.
Right. And I do want to be very clear that decluttering that I'm talking about is considered a capture, and that is not your to-do list. So just want to be very clear about that. It is your to choose list.
I like that. That's fantastic.
And that's where you pull things. So there's stuff that's going to be in your brain that you're like, why? I was even thinking about that. Oh yeah. And so you'll have it there. And when you're ready and you're prepared and you want to look at your calendar and make plans or set up projects, you go back to that capture, which you're going to do repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pull from it and choose where it's going. Is it a do now? Is it a do later? Is it a delegate?
Yeah.
This goes into a framework that I use of 4Ds to process your to-do list. But yeah, just being very careful to not make that your to-do list, or it will overwhelm you on paper instead of in your brain.
No, I think that's a great actionable first step. So thank you so much for sharing that. So what would you say people think you have together that you kind of don't always sometimes?
Well, for starters, I have 2 kiddos. I have a tween and a teen who I am running after constantly. Like when we get out to school in the morning and I get back, I almost throw myself a parade. There's confetti involved because some days it feels like a miracle. And I mean, this is with like the tools that I know, that I coach, that I use. I have a command center on the fridge where people know what's going on. And I tell them to set their stuff out at night. And I do all the things.
Yeah.
And it's still a crazy, hot mess, chaotic event that I breathe deeply when I drop them off. And I'm like, whew, okay. So that's one. That's just
so
one
glad
example.
you shared that. Cause I think people assume like, if I'm doing all the things, it should feel miraculously better. And that's not always the case, but I think it still keeps things sane and moving.
To a point that you made that I absolutely loved is like, sometimes you don't always see the effects, and it's easy to concentrate on the stuff that's going wrong. But I got to think that maybe if I didn't do the work that I did do, it'd be far worse.
Yeah.
Or maybe I couldn't laugh it off like I do.
No, I think it's good to share that type of thing. Because again, people assume whether it's because this is what you do or these are the things you're implementing, they have that expectation, and it's not about what you're physically always going to see on a day-to-day basis.
It's so true.
It's just real life. We're just people.
Yeah. And there are some mornings when we get out the door and we're there early and we're like, look at us go. But yeah, life is life. And some mornings you're more together and others you are just exhausted. And when other people are involved,
yeah,
all bets are off.
But I think the habit of it and the structure does help keep that consistency, even if it doesn't always go according to plan. There was a plan to start with.
That's a good point. You got to have a plan before you can start, or like I say, you have to have a rule before you can start breaking one.
Yeah. So how do you find your bliss?
Oh, goodness. In the quiet. And in doing the things that I absolutely love to do. I am multi-passionate and I tend to coach multi-passionates. So I understand that there are many, many things that feed us and nourish us. And I try to touch upon each of those. And I do it in small ways. Like if it's picking up my guitar for 5 minutes, reading, any kind of reading, but it's not just the reading. It is like the the beautiful meme with the quote from Brene Brown kind of reading, where you're in this lovely quiet space with beautiful light and a cup of coffee and nobody's bothering you. Those are some of my favorite ways.
I love that you created the structure for the reading, whether the reading happens or not. It feels like the structure is part of what just makes you happy.
That's a really good point. And I think to that point, it doesn't matter how long it lasts. If I do that kind of reading, even for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it's rejuvenating to me. Oh, and I almost forgot the other part of my bliss / self-care / just makes me happy is napping.
Oh, no. I saw this quote once. It said somewhere like, I want to apologize to how much I fought naps in kindergarten because now I realize how much I miss them, type of thing.
My husband has that t-shirt. He wears that, gets compliments on it all the time. And everyone's like, yes.
Yeah. I love too that, it sounds like the guitar, the reading, these are things that you really took the time to kind of figure out that you liked and things like that. And I know so many times in the hustle and bustle, we've lost those things. Was there anything, that kind of helped bring you back to them, or they never left? Just curiously.
I really love this question in part because of the story behind the guitar, in that how do I explain this? I've always loved music. I was really, really big into music when I was a teen, and it's just always been a big part of my life. But there have been seasons in my life when I haven't been able to engage in it as much as I want. With bigger demands. I was a caregiver for my mom when the kids were little. And I don't think I noticed at first how much I missed it, how much it was self-care and a way to light me up. And I would get back to it in bits and pieces, and it would just fill me up. And then my son really got into guitar playing and wanted a guitar for Christmas. And it was him doing this and how much he wanted it that kind of really encouraged me again to say, I think I'd like one again. I want to try this again. And a year ago, it's been over a year. Let's say about a year and a half now that I've had a guitar again. And some days I pick it up for 5 minutes and some days I play it for a really long time, but it's brought something back to me, a different kind of music, a different challenge for me to learn. And so, it was actually in this case, my son. So you can get inspired in so many ways. And I think our children teach us so much.
Absolutely. And that connection you guys have now with the guitar. But I also love what you just said, like the challenge of it. I think sometimes we assume the things that fill us up or make us happy have to be easy. But sometimes I think learning, that creative side, that part that's a little unknown can also be super fulfilling.
And that's especially true for multi-passionates who are generally quick to learn and like that process. So if you feel like you're an information hoarder or there's that love of learning, you can apply it to so many different things in your life. And you're right that challenge can actually be, it's good for our brains. It's good for so much, but it can also be. It can be a stress reliever in a way, which sounds counterintuitive, but so on point.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, looking then to type back to, with the productivity habits, I'm sure, the idea of something new is where people might sometimes have that internal obstacle. Do you have any strategies to help people kind of be open to that newness or something different?
So that newness that you're talking about, it's our brain's way of protecting us, right? Okay. So my brain's always going, oh, Lisa, I don't recognize that. I don't like that. Is that safe? That seems really difficult. Are you sure you don't want to sit on the couch and see what's on Netflix? Because I think that would be a good idea. And I'm like, brain, calm down. It's going to be okay. So ways in which that you can overcome this, obviously, having conversations like this, having the support of a coach or a friend or accountability partner, someone who's tried it before, ways that you can step into the familiarity, even talking about it, looking at pictures. This is why vision boards actually work. Sounds so woo-woo, right? But that's why they work, because there's something called the reticular activating system in our brains. It's why when we buy a car, suddenly we see them everywhere. Yes. It's why as moms, we can actually, it's literally a filter in our brains where we can hear our kids, even in a crowd of kids, and we hear the mom and we know, oh, that's my mom. Oh, that would be me. And so we can use that for things that we want to incorporate in our lives by, creating images, creating a vision board, or even simply putting some images in a Pinterest board that we look at, or something on our wallpaper, or, talking to friends.
I have stickies on my mirror.
There you go.
I even used to use dry erase marker for my kids or for me, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. And I would say the other thing that's just coming to my mind for whatever reason, and I always trust that, so I share it, is this idea of saying, what is it that I truly want, and what's, who's the person that I need to be to achieve that? And well, that's a person who does this thing. Well, then I will be doing this thing, whatever it happens to be. And it gives you that connection, that identity, and that familiarity. Those would be my immediate tips. And that usually does the trick.
I love that, because like I said, I think sometimes the idea of something new is what scares people off. And so having some ways to kind of work through that and overcome it, like you said, through identifying, through stepping into it, from getting familiar with it, so it does not feel foreign. I love those ideas. And those are great ways for the people listening to try and start doing that.
And then to be very forgiving with oneself, or to lean into the fact that I'm going to start at it and I will most likely suck at it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you know what I mean? And being totally okay with that. And I'm still like that when it comes to bowling.
Mm-hmm.
But I have fun when I do it. So yeah, it's really allowing for that, not taking it quite so seriously, and being good with the fact that we learn, children when they're little, take a step, fall down, take another step, and don't even think of it. And if we can embrace that.
I think as adults, we expect this higher level of perfection. We've kind of established a little rule in my house. You get 3 tries when you make something new, like a new recipe or things like that. Mm-hmm. It ties back to a really bad gnocchi experience that I tried. It did take me 3 times. And that's where I was like, you know what? It doesn't have to come out right the first time. It turned into like this really bad potato soup because they all dissolved when I put them in the hot water the first time.
Yeah.
And it's funny how I started as like a joke to kind of like get myself through the fact that I kept messing up. But now my kids have honestly, every time we've said that, like, well, this is just my first try. I still get 2 more. And so that's like been ingrained. Like you get 3 tries. It does not have to be perfect the first time.
I love that. And it's funny because we have a narrative when I make something and I'll be like, all right, what do you think? It's sometimes they'll joke, because families are inherently like, you put in all this work and they're like, I don't even like that. And you're like, whatever, so you get over that real fast. But then there's this narrative of, okay, so this is what I would do differently next time. This is what I liked about it. This is what I think I could improve upon. And again, it's not like a judgment on it. It's just like, okay, here's my assessment. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just being open to the idea that, okay, you're going to try it again. And what do you love that you're like, okay, I'm going to write that down because that really worked. And what do you want to like adjust?
Yeah. And it's more than just recipes. It could be from how you dress, how you move, exactly. What you say, what you write, all of those things. So absolutely. I love that. Yeah. What would you say are the things you're most grateful for? I think gratitude is such a big part of how we take care of ourselves as well as giving back to others. And so I always include that in my interviews because I think it's so just connecting to hear so many of the things we all appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you know, I connect it with mine as well. As a matter of fact, I love gratitude and its power for us so much. I didn't realize at first when I started sharing with people and they're like, you're a productivity coach, but you're teaching gratitude. And I was like, I realized it's a power habit. And so given that, I practice it regularly, almost on demand at this point. And in this moment, I'm so grateful for another incredible conversation with you and the fact that we've connected and that we can share these ideas, but not just the ideas, the encouragement and the hope that this can be done. This is totally doable. I love that. I am grateful for my cat who is curled up in the corner of my office on a pillow and just looking so adorable and content and modeling for me the kind of peace that I want in my life. I'm grateful for my family who works with me and keeps quiet while I do podcast interviews and a fresh cup of coffee and another chance to make a difference.
I love that. And that's the thing. It's never just one thing. I think as we can see that, we can start to have gratitude in so many other ways. So thank you so much, Lisa. I love our conversations and look forward to many more. Where can people find you? How can people connect with you?
You can always pop on my website, positivelyproductive.com. Of course, I would love it if you would come listen to the Positively Living podcast where we talk about...
and I will be there.
Okay. Yes, exactly. So we'll make sure to promote that. And if you like having fun on Instagram, then come hang out with me because I do ridiculous reels and we talk about all these things and we encourage each other and we laugh and manage stress and have fun. And that's at positively_Lisa.
That's awesome. And all the links will be in the show notes below. Thank you again, Lisa. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Daniela.
Thanks so much again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know any questions or comments that you have. Also, if you can please leave an Apple 5-star review so that this episode can be shared with more women. There's 2 quotes that I love. Alone we may be strong, but together we are stronger, as well as when women support each other, incredible things happen. So let's be stronger and incredible together, as well as maybe just have some fun along the way. Thanks so much and talk to you soon. Bye.